Hello all, in this session, in context to relational database management system, we are going to see what is data definition language and the commands that comes under it. DDL stands for data definition language. It is used to define the database structure or pattern. It is a set of SQL commands. It is used for creating the structure or the skeleton of the database. And mainly it is used to store the information of metadata. What is metadata? Metadata is the data about data. Metadata is defined as the data about the data. Like we have the number of tables and the schemas. Tables in relational model is known as a relation, and schemas is something which is going to define the structure of the tables and their names, indexes, column of each table, and the conditions that you impose on every table when it is constructed or when it is created. Here are some of the common DDL commands which you can find, namely create, alter, drop, truncate, rename, and comment. Let us see what create command is defining. It is used to create objects in the database. Objects are nothing but examples. You can create tables in the database. Table is an object. You can create n number of views. So these are the examples for objects. Coming to alter, it is used to alter the structure of the table or structure of the database. Any kind of changes you wanted to make the structure to be modified, then alter command is used. Drop, it is used to delete the objects from the database, or it is used to delete objects like tables or views or indexes from the database. For that, we will be using drop as a command. Coming to truncate, it deletes all the records from a table, but it is going to keep the structure intact. So there is a difference between drop and truncate. Drop is used to delete the objects from the database, whereas truncate is used to remove only the records from a table, but the structure of the table is remain constant. And the other command which we have under DDL is rename command. So the name itself specifies that we are going to change the name of an object. The name of an existing object is renamed or it is modified to a new name. For that, we will be using rename as a command. Comment. It is used to comment on the data dictionary. So whatever queries or the statements you make use in performing several operations on the structure of the database, those can be commented using two hyphen symbols. These two hyphen symbols are used for commenting single line comments. And if you wanted to write something multiple line, then we will be using one forward slash followed by an asterisk symbol. You can make n number of comments and it is going to terminate with an asterisk symbol followed by a forward slash. So this is used for making multiple line comments, and two hyphen symbols in DBMS or RDBMS is used for single line comments. SQL create database. Create database, database name. Before you make any sort of operations on the structure of the database, firstly, it is necessary to create the databases. So when any kind of DDL commands which are being used, it is essential for database administrator or the developers to manage the schema and the structure of the database. So here we have several set of SQL queries. So firstly, let us see what is a create database. And then I will be showing you how these databases can be created and how they can be removed as well. And inside the database, what sort of tables that you can create or you can alter or you can delete the records from the table. We are going to use several DDL commands. And during the execution of this process of creating or deleting or performing any kind of operations, you will be coming to know how the structure of the database is going to get modified. So firstly, we have a command called create. Create is a command used for creating a database. So the syntax which we have is create database, database name. An example is listed over here. Create database XYZ is the name of the database. You can give any name of the database under this place, that is under XYZ. It's better if you make a note of all these syntaxes so that it is helpful for you while you are executing queries using SQL. And if I wanted to know the databases that are present in SQL, then there is a command called show databases. So this command is generally used to display the list of all databases present on the server so that you have permission to access those databases. Show databases end with semicolon. So this is the command. It is used for displaying the list of all databases present. Use database in SQL. The syntax we use is use the database name which you have already created. If I'm going to take this as a database name, then use XYZ semicolon. So thereby what happens, to switch to a specific database in SQL, we are going to use this use statement or this use as a command which is followed by the name of the database. Now, I just wanted to drop the database which I have already created, or I wanted to delete the database. In order to delete the database, we are going to use the command called drop database. Drop the place, in the place of database, you have to write the name of the database which you have created or the name of the database which you wanted to delete. So drop the name of the database that the user wanted to delete, and with a semicolon. So these are the several things that we are going to use for creating the database, to make use of the database, to know how many databases are present in the server, and if you wanted to delete, you are going to use drop database. Now coming to the actual part of this commands in data definition language, the first which comes is a create command. As said before, create is a command used for creating tables or relations in the database. So as you have already created a database, in the database, I wanted to store the table or a relation. For that, this particular syntax is to be followed for creating a table. Let us see the syntax and then we'll go with the execution part. The syntax is create table, table name. The table name can be anything. Let us assume the table name as a student. So create table student, open the brace, and the attributes or the column names you can give for the student relation. So let the first column name be ID of the student. And what type of values you can insert for this column? Only integer type of values. So you also have to specify the type at which the user can give values for this particular attribute. Comma symbol, and you can give any number of attributes over here. So let the second column name be name, and the name is a collection of characters. So the type of this column name can be character, or you can also write it down as varchar. As this is a collection of characters, you also have to include the size up to which how many number of characters it is going to accept. So let the size of this be 10. You can give any size over here, and so on. You can give n number of attributes for the student column, close it, end it with a semicolon. Alter command. Alter is used for renaming the table name or renaming the column name. In order to rename the table name, this is the syntax which we are going to follow. Alter table, table name. The table name which we have already created is student. Now I don't want this student to be my table name. I wanted to change it to a new table name. So we will be using rename as a combination with alter command. Alter table student, rename to new table name. Which new table name you wanted to give? That table name you can specify over here. So let it be student 1. End it with a semicolon. Now the student is modified to student 1. And there is some other query which we'll be using with alter command, that is to change the column name. In the first syntax, we have seen how to change the table name. Now we are going to know how to change the column name. So this is the syntax. We have both the syntaxes. You can follow either of this. The first syntax is what? Alter table, table name. The table name we have already altered from student to student 1. So in this case, we are going to write student 1 as a table name, right? Rename column old name to new name. So if you could remember, for student 1 relation, we have given column names as ID and name. So now I want ID to be renamed as SID, student ID. So the old attribute name which I've given is ID, and the new attribute name which I wanted to give is SID. I'm going to change this to this. So here we are using rename along with the combination of alter. This is my old attribute name and this is my new attribute name. The second syntax is the same as above. You are just replacing this rename to change. And coming to drop. Drop command is used for deleting the table name. So here simply we have drop table, table name. If you wanted to drop or delete the table, then in that case we will be using drop table, table name. So what is the table I have already created? That is student 1. So in the place of table name, we are going to write drop table student 1 and with semicolon. This is used for deleting the table. And coming to truncate, we have some difference. That is, for drop, we are dropping the table and the structure is also removed. Whereas truncate is, you are removing all the records of the student relation, but the structure of the student relation is remained same. So this is the difference between the drop and truncate. So the syntax which you follow for truncate is truncate table, table name. Table name is the name of the table which you wanted to truncate. Coming to comment, comments are used to explain the sections of SQL. So whenever you are executing something using MySQL, any queries when you are working with, you may make comments using single line comments, which are specified using 2 hyphen symbols. And if it is multi-line comments, it is going to start with the forward slash followed by an asterisk symbol, and it is going to end with an asterisk symbol followed by a slash symbol. So these are the comments which you can make, and it is an optional thing because it is used to explain the sections, the part of the SQL state.